Unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably tried Asian skincare products already. Skincare culture is a bit different in Asia, so there are lots of awesome Asian products that we don't really get in Western countries. Plus, they're usually budget friendly. Today I'm going to be reviewing some really awesome Asian beauty products I've tried recently, as well as some that were pretty bad. A lot of these are products that viewers have recommended to me. They're some of those cult Asian products that you've heard a lot about online. Yes, it is mostly sunscreens. There are 5 in there, but there's also some cleansing products as well as makeup. This video is sponsored by Stylevana, which is where I got all of these. They have a massive range of Asian beauty products. They've also given us a discount code to use as well. We're starting with the Make Mermaid Skin Gel UV. This is an SPF 50 plus PA 4 pluses sunscreen. It was a holy grail sunscreen of mine, but then they reformulated or repackaged, I'm not entirely sure. So it looks like the old version, which I really loved, became the clear version. And the whitening one, that one purposely makes your skin a little bit whiter, which is quite popular in Asia. This sunscreen is really beautifully light on the skin. It's also unscented, and it's not really silicone-y. I have this problem where when I use sunscreens with a lot of silicones, they often become quite oily throughout the day on my skin. It also doesn't have alcohol. I know alcohol is a problem for a lot of people. It's not really an issue for me, but if that's what you're looking for, this is great. It works really well under makeup and there's zero white cast. On my skin at least. It's also fine around my eyes. There's none of that eye stinging. Now the filters in this, there's octinoxate, Uvanol A+, zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, and Tinosorb S. I reviewed the old version and this is the same, so this is back up to holy grail status. I highly recommend it. Our next sunscreen is the Nivea UV Super Water Gel 50. This is SPF 50 and PA with 3 pluses, so it's a little bit lower in protection than the Make sunscreen. This is a super lightweight sunscreen and it has this effect where when you put it on your skin, it feels like it bursts into water, so it feels super refreshing. After you've applied it, it is very lightweight, but you can still feel it a little bit on your skin. This is the 80-gram bottle. If you buy the slightly larger version, it comes in a convenient pump. The filters are octinoxate, DHHB, and octotriazone. It does have a pretty strong alcohol smell when you put it on at first. My main issue with it is the slightly lower protection, but as an everyday sunscreen, it is really nice. Now onto 2 of the more confusing sunscreens I've tried lately, the Isntree sunscreens. These are both from the hyaluronic acid range. And as you can tell, they look pretty much the same, and that's where the confusion came in. They're both SPF 50 plus and PA with 4 pluses. I saw Julian Scamander14, who does a lot of sunscreen reviews on Instagram. He has really dark skin and he was using one of these and it looked fantastic on his skin. So I was really excited to try this. Of course, I grabbed the wrong one, which is the Perfect Sunblock. The packaging is really not friendly for those of us who are usually in a rush and not super observant. The Perfect Sunblock peeled massively on my skin and I was actually rushing off to a picnic with one of my friends who has brown skin and I was going to give him a sunscreen and I packed this one, of course. And then I noticed it turning white on my skin, so then I had to pull that out of the bag. He didn't turn up to the picnic anyway, so I guess it was fine. I did end up using it on my arms, which I forgot to put sunscreen on before the picnic, so luckily I had this and it is quite nice on the arms. It uses titanium dioxide, which is why it has this massively whitening effect. Some people have asked me if a titanium dioxide only sunscreen can actually have this PA++++ claim. In other words, can it actually be broad spectrum and give good UVA protection? The answer is yes. A lot of older books and papers say that titanium dioxide can't give good UVA protection, but there are newer titanium dioxide ingredients out there now that tick off the criteria for broad spectrum on their own, so they give a good spread of UVA and UVB protection. Titanium dioxide is a particulate mineral sunscreen ingredient, which means it is in lots of little solid particles. With these solid particulate sunscreen ingredients, there are lots of things that you can change, like the particle size and the surface treatments that will change how that ingredient performs when it goes under UV. So in other words, what UV wavelengths it will absorb more. So for example, Rohto, which is a cosmetic ingredient company, they give an example formulation that uses their own titanium dioxide ingredients, and it ends up with SPF 65 and UVA PF 26, which would translate to the same rating as this. I don't know the exact titanium dioxide ingredient that this sunscreen is using, of course, but that rating is possible with just titanium dioxide. But anyway, the white cast and the pilling disqualified this for me, and overall it was just a very rude experience. But it turns out the one that I was meant to get was the Watery Sun Gel, and this one is a really nice sunscreen. It uses a whole bunch of organic sunscreen ingredients, so octisalate, homosalate, BEMT, MBBT, polysilicone 15, and DHHB. It's pretty nice and light and hydrating. It's not as ridiculously light as the Nivea or the Biore, but it is really good for oily skin. It could probably stand to be a little bit more hydrating though. Sunscreen number 5 is the Thank You Pharma Sun Project Light Sun Essence. This is an SPF 50+, but only PA with 3 pluses. This applies with a similar sort of silky feeling as the Can Make sunscreen, but it is a bit heavier. It has a whole bunch of chemical sunscreen ingredients, DHHB, octinoxate, octisalate, homosalate, and octocrylene. The fact it's a bit heavier and the lower UVA rating means that this can't make it into my holy grails, but I think it is quite a nice everyday sunscreen if you have maybe drier skin and you want something a little bit heavier that can double up as moisturizer. Now onto the cleansing products. This is the Hyaluronic Calendula Complete Cleansing Oil. This is a fragrance-free cleansing oil, which usually I'm a little bit hesitant about, but it smells like a cooking oil and I can't actually smell any rancidity in this. That's that slightly sour smell that you sometimes smell in oils, usually with cooking oils, when you've had them open for too long. I have only had this for a few months, but I also can't find any reviews that have ever mentioned it, so it's quite possible that it stays non-rancid for quite a while. A lot of cleansing oils have noticeable rancidity after a few months, and that's because a lot of oils will oxidize with oxygen and light. If the oils in a cleansing oil aren't selected carefully, especially if they're using plant oils, and especially if there's no masking fragrance, then this rancidity can be a bit of an issue, and it's much more obvious because this is the sort of product that you would put really close to your nose. So this is actually a really nicely done fragrance-free cleansing oil. I would still prefer something that didn't smell so much like cooking oil, but if you can't handle fragrance and you prefer plant oils in your cleansing oils, then this is a really nice option. You can also pick ones which have more stable oils, so you would avoid any plant oils that have lots of linoleic acid, for example. Maybe stick to things like mineral oil, jojoba oil, and squalane. This is pretty good at getting rid of makeup and it rinses off pretty cleanly, and it comes in my favorite packaging for a cleansing oil, which is a pump bottle. Really convenient. The only thing is I do like a little bit of a subtle fragrance in my cleansing products. And that's the same problem I had with the Hada Labo Gokujyun Hydrating Face Wash. This is a cleanser that comes with a foaming top and it is fragrance free, which is a selling point for a lot of people, but it's just not really up my alley. This is a really nice cleanser. It's not very hydrating, it's not very stripping either, and it is pretty much just fine in every way, but it's just a little bit joyless. I didn't realize this would be such an issue for me, but it just kind of felt like a chore to use. It feels a bit like the skincare version of Soylent. Nutritionally, it's exactly what you need with nothing extra, but it kind of feels a bit flavorless. I definitely prefer it over a product that's really nice to use but strips my skin massively, but I would just prefer something a little bit more exciting. But for those of you who just want a really solid cleanser that works well and has no frills, then this would be a fantastic pick. It just isn't really my cup of tea. Now onto the makeup. This is the Hada Sensual Spicy Nude Balm in Naked Almond. That is a lot of innuendo for a lipstick. This is actually the lipstick I am currently wearing. I guess we don't really talk about Asian makeup a lot because makeup is something that it's a lot easier to try in person. So this was a bit of a blind buy, but I'm really glad I got it. It is a really pretty brick red color. It looks a lot like my favorite lipstick, which is Toast of New York by Revlon, but it's a sheerer color and it looks more like a gloss. There is a little bit of a minty feeling on my lips, not a ton, and the fragrance is really nice. It smells like a cup of tea. I also really prefer this sort of stick format, which is a little bit harder to find with Asian brands. Most Asian brands that I've looked at have those doe foot gloss-like applicators, and while they're okay, they're not my preferred way of applying lipstick. I prefer a much more oily product. I think maybe I'm just not quite coordinated enough to deal with a doe foot on a daily basis. I also tried some gel eyeliners from the brand Mertzi. These gel eyeliners stay on really well and they didn't transfer at all even though my eyelids are super oily. This one is a normal size one and this one is a slim eyeliner. Both of these don't blend that well once you've put them on your skin. You do have to work quite quickly, and so if you're using your finger, just like apply it, smudge it, apply the next part, smudge it. Again, I am wearing it on my eyelids at the moment and you can see I haven't really bothered blending it much because it is actually quite difficult. The regular eyeliner comes with a sharpener in the end that you can pull out. Now the slim one is really cool. It is only 1.5 millimeters in diameter, which means it's really thin, it's really easy to control, and you can draw a really good cat eye with it really easily. It does tend to break off really easily because it is so slim, so the Mertzi website does give a tip where you only wind up so there's about a millimeter sticking up before you start using it. The problem is because it is so skinny, there isn't that much product inside this. Like the cylinder total mass is just tiny. It is 0.05 grams, which is 50 milligrams, versus in the big one, you have 10 times as much of that solid black product, 0.5 grams. And even that isn't very much product compared to my usual Revlon Color Stay Cream Gel, which is 1.2 grams. So it's a bit more than twice as much as in the big one. And it is 24 times as much as in the slim one. So while the slim one is a really cool product and I haven't really seen anything like that on the market before, it is something to keep in mind. It is probably not going to be the product that you use to draw a really thick eyeliner line on every day. So all of those are from Stylevana. They've given me a discount code, which is right here. If you've tried any of these products before, let me know what you thought of them. Please consider subscribing if you've learned something new. Also click the notification bell so you don't miss any uploads. And I will see you next time to nerd out more.